No other pro wrestler has transcended the industry bubble quite like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He's a major movie star now, but it was a very long journey for him to get there. Dwayne Johnson's childhood was far from ideal. As the son of former WWE star Rocky Johnson and Ata Maivia, adopted daughter of wrestler High Chief Peter Maivia, The Rock has wrestling in his blood. The Rock's father started his career as a boxer, but eventually transitioned into pro wrestling, where he met Peter and Ata Maivia. Rocky began an affair with Ata, despite being married at the time and having other children to provide for. He ultimately divorced his first wife in 1978, and the two got married the same year. Dwayne was born in 1972. He and his mother had to mostly care for themselves in Hawaii. They had to move from place to place, often only staying in a home for a few months at a time. They were once evicted from their home, which Dwayne recalled in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter. He said, "We come home, and there's a padlock on the door and an eviction notice. My mom starts bawling. She just started crying and breaking down. Where are we going to live? What are we going to do?" Ata's car had been repossessed just a week before. In his teenage years, the young Rock turned to a life of petty crime, joining a theft ring that targeted tourists in Waikiki, resulting in multiple run-ins with the local police. Dwayne hasn't sugarcoated his relationship with his father. He has described Rocky Johnson as an absentee dad and noted that this put his mother Ata through serious emotional pain. In an interview with Express, Dwayne recalled the day his mother attempted suicide in front of him shortly after the eviction. He, his mother, and his father were in Nashville driving on Interstate 65. Without warning, his mother got out of the car and walked into oncoming traffic. Traffic swerved out of the way, and Dwayne luckily got to her quickly enough to pull her back onto the shoulder of the road, saving her life. Looking back, The Rock has said he got lucky that day and lamented how often things take a more tragic turn of events with many other suicides.
In that moment, one of the greatest lessons I've ever learned was how precious life is.
However, while he might have saved his mother's life, he admitted that the ordeal still sent him into depression as well. He said, "I reached a point where I didn't want to do a thing or go anywhere. I was crying constantly." The Rock also noted that his mother has no recollection of the event whatsoever. The two of them have since healed, and they have a warm, loving relationship. In 2023, for her 75th birthday, Dwayne posted an Instagram clip of himself singing to his mom, which made her cry tears of joy. Dwayne Johnson grew up in and around pro wrestling and met many industry veterans. With his father rarely at home, his grandfather became a father figure to him and helped stabilize his life. In an interview with GQ, The Rock said of Peter Maivia, "He was a very proud man who was very much loved and respected, and also one of the toughest men ever in pro wrestling." Dwayne once revealed that his grandfather was partially the inspiration for his character Maui in Disney's Moana.
So what I believe you were trying to say is thank you.
Thank you?
You're welcome.
Sadly, Maivia died when Dwayne was only 10 years old from cancer, one of the catalysts for the young Rock briefly getting involved in petty crime. Later, in his 20s, Dwayne was also saddened by the 1993 passing of Andre the Giant at the age of just 46. Years later, Johnson posted a tribute to the eighth wonder of the world on X, formerly Twitter. "Andre was a hero of mine, and for some reason, he took a liking to me too, and always treated me like his own son." Peter Maivia and Andre were good friends during their time in wrestling, which could be why the massive legend took a liking to Dwayne. The Rock also posted a tribute to both men on Instagram, highlighting how close they were while lamenting that he never got to raise a tequila with them. Before following in his father and grandfather's footsteps in wrestling, Dwayne Johnson set his sights on football, landing a football scholarship at the University of Miami. The Rock told The Hollywood Reporter that he sustained his first ever injury during his freshman year. He said, "My shoulder popped out of its socket and was just hanging there." This sent Dwayne back into a depression, and he began to question his identity and his future. At the time, his parents were living together in Tampa. He decided to drop out of school and go live with them instead. But after a few weeks, the young Rock received a call from his coach scolding him and telling him to come back. He says, "Get your ass in a car and come back right now." He was so embarrassed and pissed. It's one thing when you go through an injury and depression. It's another when you walk away and say, "F it." Johnson returned, but he missed his opportunity to be drafted into the NFL. He signed a contract with the Canadian Football League's Calgary Stampeders, but was still not making enough money to help his mother. Things got worse when he was demoted to the practice team and was earning only $250 per week. Eventually, he was cut from the team entirely. Johnson said, "There was no injury. It's just, that's it. You're not good enough." That was very sobering. In 1997, Dwayne Johnson married his first wife, Dani Garcia. Their marriage lasted a decade, and they had one daughter, current NXT General Manager Ava. Johnson and Garcia have remained close and even worked together in business. Garcia told People that their past has helped them succeed in their business ventures. She said of her ex-husband, "He has a strong sense of family. We have that extra layer of trust that can only come from family. We are just a different family, and we keep adding new people." Johnson told The Hollywood Reporter that taking accountability for his failed marriage sent him into yet another cycle of depression, in which he questioned his ability as a father and husband. "That's when it all hit me. What kind of dad does this make me? What kind of man will I now become? Failing at marriage and as a husband was a heavy thing, and divorce had that special way of knocking me on my ass." Years later, in an interview with the Wall Street Journal magazine, Johnson revealed that it took more than a decade to process his divorce and open himself up to getting married again. In 2019, he finally married his long-term girlfriend, Lauren Hashian, after 12 years of dating and the birth of their 2 daughters, Jasmine Leah and Tiana Gia. Johnson said, "My divorce did a number on me. I wasn't fearful of getting married again, there was just some hesitancy." The Rock is an 8-time WWE champion and was only the 6th ever WWE Triple Crown champion. But along with the accolades, he also suffered many setbacks in his WWE career. In a 2021 Instagram post, while going through rehab, Johnson listed all the injuries he suffered over the years he put his body on the line. 4 knee surgeries, torn quadriceps off my pelvis, torn adductor off my pelvis, triple hernia surgery, ruptured Achilles tendon, complete shoulder reconstruction, 3 low back disc herniations, 2 low back disc ruptures. In a Q&A session on Instagram, Johnson explained that he actually retired in 2004, and by his telling, it was simply because his contract was up.
In 2004, when my contract expired, I had delivered on my agreement with the WWE.
But of course, he didn't stay gone. The Rock called then WWE head Vince McMahon in 2011, and the two began planning his 2-year comeback and official retirement, which ended up being his WrestleMania 29 rematch with John Cena. During that match, Johnson suffered multiple major injuries, tearing his quadriceps off the bone and tearing his abdomen.
Wound up, completely tearing my abdomen.
What? Oh my God.
In 3 places, so I had to have emergency hernia surgery, 3.
He claims he lost feeling for 10 minutes and relied on momentum to carry him through the remainder of the match. In March 2018, in the middle of the night, Johnson and Hashian had to rush their daughter Jasmine to a nearby hospital. After the crisis, Johnson spoke about it on his Instagram.
This past Saturday night, something happened to me and my family that I would never want to happen to any of you guys out there.
Johnson thanked the Los Angeles Fire Department as well as the UCLA medical team, but didn't give details about what the emergency was. He did explain further to Extra, though.
She wound up having like a croupy cough, which a lot of parents out there know. So we experienced that, and then she also had a problem breathing in that moment.
So Johnson and Hashian called 911 and got Jasmine the help she needed. Today, Jasmine is healthy and happy, and is often described by her father as fearless. Johnson regularly shares sweet moments with his daughters on his social media accounts. The 2018 shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, was one of the most deadly school shootings in American history, with 17 fatalities and 17 wounded. Dwayne Johnson's family was personally touched by it. Johnson's oldest daughter, Simone, known as Ava in WWE, had friends in the school. A few months after the shooting, Johnson commented on the tragedy and how it affected his daughter, telling Rolling Stone, "She was absolutely terrified. A lot of her friends' friends died. It's heartbreaking. They're still going through it." Johnson didn't have much else to add to comfort families and friends, but he emphasized child safety going forward, saying, "We've got to keep our kids safe." Though he has hinted at having political aspirations, it's yet to be seen if Johnson will actually run for office, but he has often spoken out on some major political issues. He notably shared photos of a March for Our Lives rally, the sole aim of which was to bring attention to gun violence and actions that could be taken to stop it. Johnson also shared a tribute to the Parkland victims and their families on his X account. He wrote, "My heart breaks for those affected from the Parkland shooting. This one hits hard, as it's in our county where I live with my family. Strength, love, and light to all the families and students during this tragic time. Stay strong, together." In 2013, actor Paul Walker died in a car accident in Santa Clarita, California. Fans of the Fast and Furious franchise mourned his passing, as did Walker's castmates in the franchise, including Johnson. Johnson recalled to The Hollywood Reporter that he found out about Walker's death while he was driving. He said, "I pulled over and looked at my messages and had a moment where I just caught my breath." In 2020, Johnson lost another close friend when former WWE star Shad Gaspard died while saving his son from a rip current in Venice Beach, California. Lifeguards were able to rescue Gaspard's son, but Gaspard was left and pulled out into the ocean. His body was discovered on the beach 3 days later. Johnson shared a heartfelt tribute to his friend on Instagram, writing, This one hurts. Great guy. My deepest condolences and love to Shad Gaspard's wife, son, and family. This is a tough one to process. Dwayne Johnson grew very close to his father, Rocky Johnson, later in life. The WWE Hall of Famer even mentored his son once he started making strides in wrestling. Sadly, Rocky Johnson died in January 2020 at the age of 75. In a heartfelt Instagram post, The Rock shared a tribute to his father. He wrote in part, "Dad, I wish I had one more shot to tell you I love you before you crossed over to the other side. But you were ripped away from me so fast without warning. I love you, Dad, and I'll always be your proud and grateful son. Go rest high." 2 days later, The Rock revealed his father's cause of death in an Instagram video.
He had what's called a deep vein thrombosis, which is essentially a blood clot in the leg that broke free, traveled up his body, and went right to his lung.
Later that year, Johnson's mentor, Pat Patterson, also passed away. Patterson petitioned Vince McMahon to give Johnson a shot and suggested that he should go by The Rock instead of Rocky Maivia. Johnson also shared a heartfelt message about Patterson on his Instagram, writing, "Rough phone calls to get this morning to tell me our dear family member, Pat Patterson, who was my pro wrestling mentor and father figure, has passed away.